I have been wanting to make this video for months now. In May of 1990, Amy Dacyzyn published 10 painless ways to save $100 this year. Did a little math, and $100 in 1990 is $233 in today's dollars. So my goal is to figure out if each of her 10 methods could today be implemented and save $233 in 1 year. So first, let's read her 10 ideas. So first, purchase 10 articles of clothing at thrift shops or yard sales in this year instead of paying department store prices. 2, hang 4 loads of laundry per week instead of using the dryer. 3, once a month you make a pizza at home instead of having it delivered to your home. 4, write a good letter instead of making a long distance phone call. That math is gonna be fun. 5, reduce your soda consumption by 4 cans a week. 6, bake 1 batch of bread, which equals 2 loaves per week. 7, save $50 each on 2 children's birthday parties by making homemade decorations, cake, wrapping paper, and 1 present. 8, reduce your smoking by 3 cigarettes per day, or give up smoking altogether and save considerably more. 9, reduce your whole milk consumption by 2 gallons per week, substituting dry milk in cooking, homemade cocoa mix, and half in drinking. And 10, pack 4 inexpensive school lunches per week. So let's do the math. And as you know, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, I don't do my math on camera because that would be a disaster. I do it all ahead of time. Her first way to save $100 painlessly in a year, she says you should buy 10 articles of clothing at a thrift store instead of in a department store. So to keep comparing apples to apples, let's just talk jeans. I go to a thrift store and I'm looking to purchase a pair of jeans. I can definitely do it at any thrift store near me for between $7 and $10. I can get it cheaper than that too, especially if I'm gonna go to like a yard sale, but let's give Amy the benefit of a doubt. We're gonna just go with $7 to $10 on average to buy a pair of jeans at a thrift store. And then I went to like Kohl's and JCPenney and Macy's, and I went to find out the price of a pair of jeans at one of those stores. And they were going for, without having any additional sales, between $30 and $40 each. So if we're going to say $7 to $10 thrift store, $30 to $40 at the department store, that would be saving me between $23 and $30 per item, which if you multiply that by 10, yes, you do get to $230. If something's on super sale at like a Kohl's department store, then you're only saving around $10 per item. And that 10 times 10 is obviously 100. The math doesn't quite work out. However, I am 100% sure that you can purchase nice used jeans, no matter where you live, that you can save $233 in 1 year on 10 articles of clothing. I guarantee it. So I'm going to say it still works. Check. The second tip Amy suggests as a painless method to save $100 in a year is to hang 4 loads of laundry a week. I don't know in what universe hanging 4 loads of laundry is painless, but maybe that's just me because laundry is the bane of my existence and I despise it with the fire of 1,000 suns. However, we're still going to do the math and pretend that everyone thinks it's a painless chore. So 4 loads a week times 52 weeks in a year equals 208 loads of laundry, which 48 cents a load. So let's figure it out now. So I'm just going to use my dryer that I went and I looked up what does a Whirlpool Duet cost to run for a load. And it says it will cost me 2.1 kilowatt hours. If you have a really energy efficient one, you could get it down to, I think it said 1.5. And then if you have a really inefficient machine, probably a much older dryer, that could cost up to 4.5 kilowatt hours to run. And so now you take that number and you multiply it by the cost of electricity in your area. So in my area, it is 26 cents per kilowatt hour. So you multiply those two together, and in my area, it will cost me 55 cents to run the dryer once. So if I take 55 cents times 208 loads a year, that is going to cost me $113.57, which isn't even close to the $233 it would cost me to like make this an even trade. So this doesn't work anymore. If you live in an area where energy costs like double what it costs in my area of Maine, or if you have a very, very old dryer, the math, or definitely if you have both of those circumstances, line drying your clothes might make sense for you. However, it is not worth it for me to do the chore I despise most in the universe and clip all the little baby socks on the line. It's not gonna happen. Next, she says that once a month you should make a pizza instead of having it delivered. So let's pretend we're gonna use DoorDash. If I wanted to purchase a pizza from somewhere in my town, local, it would cost me $24.97 plus fees plus a tip. There's 7 different kinds of fees they can charge you on DoorDash if you didn't know. And let's say we give our driver a 20% tip, because if I'm ordering DoorDash, I better be able to pay the person who is bringing it to me. And if not, I'm a cheapskate and I don't deserve to get pizza delivered to my house. So all total, that would be a $32.17 pizza to have DoorDash deliver it to my house. So let's see how cheaply we can make our own. And I'm not even going to calculate the cost of this pizza using my methods, because I go a little extreme. Let's just pretend you go to the store and you pick up a package of pre-made dough, you pick up a jar of pizza sauce, you grab some cheese, and you grab some pepperoni. If you do those things, the ingredients in my area is going to cost you $5.35. That's substantially cheaper. It's actually $26.82 cheaper times 12 for one time each month, and that's going to save you $321.84 a year if you just don't DoorDash your pizza one time a month. So yes, this one still works, and it actually works really, really good. Number 4 was, oh my gosh, by the way, I wasn't born when this article was written, so I apologize if that makes any of you feel old. But in 1990, one of her tips was you should handwrite a letter once a month instead of making a long distance phone call. I thought about this one. I literally can't calculate the cost it would send you to just send an email. Honestly, it could be free. If you go to the library and you use their computer and their internet connection, you can send emails for free as often as you can get to the library. So communication can cost you $0 compared to the cost of a single stamp is 68 cents. So 68 times 12 is going to be negative $8.16 if you use this method of Amy's. So nope, this one will not save you money anymore. Sorry. Number 5 is to drink 4 fewer cans of soda per week. When you're buying an average 12-pack of Coca-Cola in this area, it's going to cost you $8.59, 72 cents for 1 can of soda. And if you drink 4 fewer of those every week for an entire year, that would be a savings of $149.76. So nope, this one doesn't work. This one doesn't meet our $233 adjusted for inflation threshold. I did more math. You would need to drink 7 fewer cans of soda per week to hit a little bit over $233. So if you're a real heavy soda drinker and you're drinking more than 1 can of soda a day, if you cut that down by 1 can per day, you can save this much. Oh, here's one of my favorite ones. Bake 1 batch, which equals 2 loaves of bread per week. So when I do my recipe, and I'm just super simple, water, flour, salt, and yeast, I've calculated that it'll cost me $1.27 per loaf. And each of my loaves is 2 pounds. It's a pretty hearty loaf. As soon as there's fresh bread in the house, everyone comes to the kitchen and they're like, ooh, Mom, hum. And it's like half gone in a single day. You wanna see? I made a double batch yesterday. This is all that's left. 2.5 breadsticks. Now, granted, I gave one to a friend who's not feeling well, but still, it goes fast in our house, so I make them big. If I wanted to get the equivalent in weight, it would cost me about $2 if I wanted to buy like the really junky quality store brand bread. $2 for a 1 pound loaf of bread. The equivalent if you want to get like the Dave's Killer brand, that's $7 a pound. And if I wanted to go real fancy and get the Ezekiel bread, which is like super healthy, it's in the freezer section, that is a $9.58 per loaf. So you can imagine how this one's gonna go. Even if I just calculated using the cheap, junky, bottom of the barrel store bread, making my own bread at home will save me $299, $300 a year by baking your own bread. So yes, this one still works, and it works in a big way. All right, friends, we are getting there. On to tip number 7, which was to take 2 of your children's birthday parties and cut the costs by $50 each, which would equal $100 in savings over the year. Now, I'll be super, super honest on this one. We have an incredible group of friends in this area who do very chill birthday parties, and my kids are really young, so they haven't even been exposed to the idea of let's have the entire class go to the bowling alley. In Amy's tip, she suggests swapping out 4 different things to make this birthday party $50 less expensive. So the first was doing homemade decorations, homemade wrapping paper, a homemade cake, and 1 homemade present. So in order for this tip to still be true, that you take 2 kids' birthdays and reduce the expenses for them, I need to save $116 per kid's party. And if I can get decorations for $16, wrapping paper for $1, and a cake for $30, I need to say that I'm making a homemade present that's worth $67 in order to make this math work, which I just don't feel is accurate. How are you going to make a homemade or thrift or find for free somewhere a $67 present twice in a year to save that amount of money? I just don't think this one works anymore. If you have other ideas, let me know in comments, but I'm going to give this one a big no because Walmart has made things like birthday party decorations pretty inexpensive. Now, maybe if you were going to say your birthday party decorations are like a big bouncy castle and like a giant balloon, a handcrafted balloon arch, like sure, maybe that math ends up working out. But I think if you were going to try to purchase things inexpensively, you could still purchase them inexpensively without needing to do all this homemade extra work. I love homemade stuff at birthday parties. Fun, but not painless. All right, I am not a smoker, so I had to do a lot of extra research for this one, but number 8 was smoke 3 fewer cigarettes per day. So in my area, a single pack, which has 20 cigarettes in it, is $8.58 in my town. That works out to be 43 cents per cigarette. 43 cents times 3 is going to give you $1.29 a day savings. So if you do 3 fewer cigarettes every day for the entire year, that's going to give you a savings of $469.76. I mean, I knew smoking was expensive, but that one really blew my mind. That one totally still works many times over. All right, here is an interesting one, and I remember when I first read the Tightwad Gazette and I saw her talking about powdered milk all the time. So I went into my store and I found that if I wanted to purchase a whole gallon of milk, it's going to cost me $4.06 here. If I wanted to buy the equivalent 1 gallon's worth of powdered dry milk, that would cost me $4.57 a gallon. It is more expensive now to buy dry powdered milk than it is to even buy a whole gallon of milk. Does not work anymore unless you live somewhere where, I don't know, maybe you poor Canadians. I don't know. I think I've seen things like milk costing $6, $7, $8 a gallon up there. You poor guys, I'm so sorry. And finally, the idea that if you take 4 school lunches and you don't purchase them at the school and instead you make them very inexpensively at home. In my town, if you want to buy 1 lunch, if you are a K through 8 student, that is going to cost you $2.75 a lunch. And then I crafted in my head what my kids would actually eat for a lunch. I went pretty generous on the portion sizes and I didn't do the math to make it all work. I just wrote down what my kid would actually eat for a lunch and then did the math to make myself really honest about it. So I said that I would be packing my kid an apple, a peanut butter and jam sandwich, a hard-boiled egg, 1 homemade brownie, and a cheese stick. So there's convenience here. There's a cheese stick in there, there's an apple. Even if you make a homemade brownie, and the math I did here was a homemade brownie from a box mix. So these are not that complicated. I'm not talking about making gourmet, dumb sandwiches you see on Pinterest where they have this little fun shape. I don't have time for that. This is a peanut butter jam sandwich. Those 5 items would be costing me $1.15 a meal. $1.15 a meal, homemade and expensive, versus $2.75 purchased at the school. $165.60 a year for homemade, or $396 a year school provided. That is a savings of $230.40, which is only $3 away from my threshold of making it yes or no. I'm gonna give Amy the benefit of the doubt because I bet that you can find a way to save $3 extra over the course of a year over making your kids lunch. Like you either find a really good loss leader sale on something, or you could stock up on something somewhere else. I know you could save an extra $3 based on this, so I'm going to say Amy takes the cake. Yes, you can save money by making your kid a homemade lunch and for not that much extra work. So all told, that means Amy was right 5 times, wrong 5 times. She did amazing, even though it's I'm 30. It's 33 years later, friends. Let me know in the comments if you're one of the people who used to get the newsletters mailed to your house, because you're the real OGs here and I'm sure you have plenty to teach me, so you feel free to leave all of your wisdom in the comments and I will see you next week. Bye, YouTube.